What is meant by the monad?
It's a word used by theosophists. This thing, I'm sure. Yes. Monad is it's a composite whole of the Atma, Buddhi and Manus, Father, Son and Holy Spirit. On the cosmic scale, and Atma, Buddhi, Manus, that is Ketha, Hakma and Bina, all in one. That's the monad.
Is it a type?
Speak in Kabbalistic language. Atma, Buddhi, Manas in Sanskrit.
Is that corollary to a group soul consciousness? Or?
No, group soul is called a group soul consciousness. A monad can be an individual collection of the principles. That is, the mental body, the buddhic or intuitional body, and the soul. That is, the Anandamay Kosh, the Vijnanmay Kosh and the Manomay Kosh. These three make the monad. Father, Son and Holy Spirit on the cosmic scale, that makes the monad. So it's a word which is used. But you can also call it Trimurti, the 3 in 1 and 1 in 3, the triple in a descending scale. But then there's another triple 3 in 1 as the monad in creation, like Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. These three are there. But for procreation, Brahma has to descend, and Shiva and Vishnu descend through the agency of Brahma.
Is every enlightened master that comes back to Earth a group soul?
Enlightened masters don't come back to earth a group soul, but they harbor the group soul. You see, these are called the Manus. One is the root Manu and one is the seed Manu. Manu is the source and the root and originator of all the Manus, starting from the beginning. And then he has in turn a seed Manu who carries over his work to the other planet or to the other interplanetary evolutionary state, or the interpralay. Therefore, like there are 14 Manuvantars, so to carry it on and pass it to the other Manu is the work of the seed Manu. So there is a root Manu and a seed Manu. Like Vaivashvat Manu was the root Manu, Savarni is the seed Manu. He will do the finished work and build up the new seeds of a new humanity within him to pass it on to the next interplanetary Manu. There are 14 Manus in a day of God, a day of Brahma, which is 4,320,000,000 years. If that's divided by 14, it comes to 300 million years. So each Manu or ruling king reigns for 300 million years in a day of God, which is called a day of Brahma. And these Manus, each 14 of them are the personification or the embodiment of the humanity as at large. If you see the face of Manus, they will look like the archetype of the whole of humanity. If you sum up the whole face of humanity, their face will look like that. If you compare it to the Moses face, it will look like a Moses face. If you compare it to the Shamsa Tabrizi face, it will look like Shamsa Tabrizi face. If you compare it to the Vashishta Rishi face, it will look like Vashishta Rishi's face. So such a person is said to be training to be or evolving to be the next seed Manu. You get it? कुणाचं? Huh? The embodiment of a certain root race. Now, like the 6th sub race is being built during our period. This is the same sixth sub-race which will become the sixth root race more and more 700 years hence. It's a short time span I'm giving you, but it'll carry on for the whole 300 million years.
What's the difference between the fifth and the sixth?
Well, they are better equipped, you know. What's the difference between the first model of the iPhone and the second model of the iPhone? There's a G2X or G3X now. There's just a little difference, a little modification. Angela will tell you, because you're a jungle man with a machete. She has the iPhones, right?
Yeah.
There's subtle difference. So she understood the meaning. Or what's the difference between, let's say in your example, the F86 and the later ones? It's just a little, you know, little modification. So we have an extra chakra which is at a subtler level, which can cope and deal with different situations. We have a better clairvoyance, which can see into the deeper layers of the celestial realm, which the fifth root race may not have been able to see. So now, because we are ascending into spirituality, so that's what happens.
And how many levels to the races are there?
There seem to be 14 levels to the different races.
And so the 14th level is during Satya Yuga?
Yes, yes. I mean, there are many Satya Yugas in a reign of Manu. 71 by 4. Or 7. 4 ones are 4. 284 Satya Yugas. 284 Kali Yugas. 284 Dwapar Yugas. And 284 Treta Yugas in the reign of one Manu. So that's big time. That is 71 Mahayugas in the reign of one Manu. So the Manu is not a small man, he is a big daddy. He's a big daddy because he's called the father of the human race. Like, you know, in a certain sort of way, when you look up to Christ, you say he is divine and this thing. But when you look up to Moses, you say, wow, who's the father of your race? Who represents your race? Who's the father of the human, all the Yahudians all over the world? They say, Moses. You know, like, he's the father figure, or Abraham. So these are big guys. So they are like the Manus in the making, the Manus to be, which is a fact. So this is very important. And don't think because one Moses came and this thing, his spiritual principle, that soul is the same. He can choose to live on for 300 million years in the same body, or he can change bodies from life to life. It's no big deal for him. But one of his subtler Nirmankayas is always awake, and the continuum, the incarnational life and death, birth and death continuum is unbroken in his mind. If he chooses to shut it off, he'll forget it. But if he chooses to bring it, he'll remember all his past and future lives. Such is the power of the Manu. And he is very much unsung and unheard of. He is coming to be known now, not as much as the Krishna and the Christ, who are the avataric ones who do the work at the Buddhic level. But the Manu does the work directly at the physical and then at the Atmic level, which is even above the Buddhic level. He goes on to do that work.
So is it of Brahma and Shiva then?
Yeah, it's a Brahma and Shiva with Vishnu also. They all three have all three in them.
Will some people not become part of the sixth?
What?
Will some people not become part of the sub-root race, or will we all eventually evolve?
You are the sixth sub-race. You're going on to the sixth root race now. This generation is the sixth root race. So there's one group of people who are the sixth root race. There's the other group of people who come from hoary antiquity and they are already enlightened. So there's a whole 300 million years evolutionary gap between the Manus who come. And those Manus who are the Manus and are helping in the evolution of the human race and are teaching yogic methods of Shiva have Shiv predominant in them.